The forest breathing. The ironwood forest stretched for 70 miles in every direction. Dense pine, thick undergrowth, and a silence that felt older than the trees themselves. I'd been planning this trip for months, a week alone, no phone service, no distractions, just me and nature. The ranger station sat at the forest's edge, a small wooden building that looked like it hadn't been updated since the 70s. Inside, a woman in her 60s looked up from a crossword puzzle. "Camping permit?" she asked. I handed over my paperwork. She glanced at it, stamped it, then reached under the counter and pulled out a laminated card, like the kind they give you at hotels with Wi-Fi passwords. "Read this carefully," she said. "These aren't suggestions." The card had 5 rules typed in faded ink. Do not acknowledge the breathing. Never leave food outside your tent. If the forest goes silent, hold your breath until it passes. Do not unzip the tent until morning. If the breathing matches yours, start running. I looked up at her. "Is this a joke?" She didn't smile. "The ironwood has its own rules. You follow them, you'll be fine. Ignore them." She shrugged. "We find about 2 people a year who didn't follow them." "Find them. What's left of them?" I laughed nervously. She didn't join in. "This is serious," she said. "The forest is old. Older than this country. The indigenous people who lived here had their own rules. Different words, same meaning. Something lives out there, has for a very long time. You respect it. It respects you." "What is it?" "Don't know. Don't want to know. Just follow the rules." She handed me a map with my campsite marked. "You're in Site 47. 3 miles in. Stay on the trail. And remember, do not acknowledge the breathing." I took the card and the map, still half convinced this was some elaborate prank they played on tourists. But the ranger's expression never changed. She was dead serious. The hike in was beautiful. Afternoon sun filtering through the canopy, birds singing, the smell of pine and earth. My campsite was perfect, a small clearing next to a stream, flat ground for my tent, a fire ring made of stones. I set up camp, hung my food bag from a high branch away from my tent like I always did, and made dinner as the sun set. The forest grew darker faster than I expected. The canopy was so thick that twilight lasted maybe 20 minutes before full darkness settled in. I was sitting by my fire, eating beans from a can, when I first heard it. Breathing. Deep, slow breaths, in and out, like someone sleeping nearby. I froze, listening. It came from somewhere in the forest, not close but not far either, maybe 30 feet away, just beyond the firelight. Do not acknowledge the breathing. I forced myself to keep eating, to act like I heard nothing. The breathing continued, steady, rhythmic, almost hypnotic. It went on for maybe 5 minutes, then stopped. The normal forest sounds returned, wind through trees, the stream gurgling, an owl somewhere in the distance. I finished my dinner, cleaned my pot, and made sure my food bag was secure. 20 feet up, hanging from a branch, nowhere near my tent. I'd done this 100 times. Basic camping protocol. I crawled into my tent around 9 p.m., exhausted from the hike. Zipped it shut. Lay in my sleeping bag listening to the forest. The breathing started again around midnight. Closer this time, maybe 10 feet from my tent. Deep, slow inhalations, long exhalations. I could hear the air moving, hear the depth of each breath, something large, something with big lungs. Do not acknowledge the breathing. I lay perfectly still, eyes wide open in the darkness of my tent. My heart hammered in my chest, every instinct screamed at me to unzip the tent, to look, to see what was out there. Do not unzip the tent until morning. The breathing circled my tent, slowly, taking a minute to move from one side to the other. I could hear something moving through the undergrowth, not footsteps exactly, more like weight shifting, pressure on the ground. It made one complete circle, then stopped directly in front of my tent's entrance. The breathing continued. In, out, in, out. I held my own breath, terrified it would hear me. My lungs started to burn. I had to breathe, had to. I exhaled as quietly as possible. Took a shallow breath in. The breathing outside matched my exhale perfectly. Synchronized. If the breathing matches yours, start running. But I couldn't run. I was in my tent. The rule said, don't unzip until morning. If I opened the tent now, what would I find? What would be standing there? I forced myself to breathe normally. The breathing outside continued its own rhythm. Slower than mine. Deeper. After what felt like hours, it moved away. Faded into the forest. Disappeared. I didn't sleep that night. Just lay there, listening, waiting for dawn. When the first gray light filtered through my tent, I finally unzipped it and looked outside. Nothing. Just my campsite. Fire ring cold, stream flowing. Food bag still hanging where I'd left it. But around my tent in the soft earth, there were marks, not footprints, just depressions. Large oval shapes pressed into the ground, like something heavy had been standing there. Something that didn't have feet. I made coffee with shaking hands and tried to rationalize what I'd heard. A bear, maybe. They breathed heavily. But bears had footprints, and bears didn't circle tents for hours. I should have packed up. Should have hiked back to my car right then. But I'd taken a week off work, driven 6 hours to get here. And it was just one night. One weird night. The rules had kept me safe. I just followed the rules more carefully. That day I hiked deeper into the forest. The trails were well maintained, marked with colored blazes on the trees. I saw a few other campers in the distance, but didn't approach them, didn't wave. Something about the forest made me want to stay quiet. Around 3 p.m., I stopped for a break. Sat on a fallen log and drank water. The forest was full of sound, birds, wind, insects. Normal sounds. Then, all at once, it went silent. Complete silence. No birds, no wind, no insects. Like someone had pressed mute on the entire forest. If the forest goes silent, hold your breath until it passes. I held my breath immediately. Didn't question it. Just followed the rule. My lungs burned. 30 seconds. 45. A minute. The silence continued. Absolute. Oppressive. Like the forest itself was holding its breath with me. 1 minute 30. My vision started to blur. I needed to breathe. Needed to. At 1 minute 45, sound rushed back, all at once. Birds singing, wind rustling, like nothing had happened. I gasped in air, nearly falling off the log. What the hell was that? I hiked back to my campsite faster than I'd intended. Got there by 5 p.m., made an early dinner, double-checked my food bag, made sure everything was secured. As darkness fell, the breathing started again. But this time, it was already close. Right at the edge of my campsite. I could hear it clearly over the crackle of my fire. Do not acknowledge the breathing. I kept cooking, kept stirring my pot of rice, pretended I heard nothing. The breathing moved closer. I could feel it now, feel the displacement of air with each exhale. Whatever it was stood just beyond my firelight, just at the edge of visibility. I wanted to look, wanted to see. But the first rule was clear. Do not acknowledge it. I finished cooking, ate my dinner, cleaned my pot. all while the breathing continued 10 feet away, watching me. I could feel it watching. When I hung my food bag, I had to walk toward where the breathing came from. The branch I used was in that direction. I grabbed my bag and walked toward the sound, eyes straight ahead, refusing to look into the darkness. The breathing didn't move, didn't react, just continued its steady rhythm. I hung the bag, secured the rope, and walked back to my tent. Crawled inside, zipped it shut. The breathing circled my tent again, slower this time, more deliberate. It stopped at each side, pausing for a full minute before moving on. When it reached the front of my tent again, it stopped. And then I heard something new, sniffing, like a dog investigating a scent, but deeper, wetter, the sound of something with massive sinuses drawing in air. My tent walls bowed inward slightly. It was so close, inches from the fabric. I held perfectly still, barely breathing. The sniffing continued, then stopped. The breathing resumed, in, out, in, out. I matched my breath to it without thinking, synchronized. It felt natural, calming even. In, out, in, out. We breathed together, me and whatever was outside my tent. Then I remembered the last rule. If the breathing matches yours, start running. My heart seized. I'd been matching its breathing, not the other way around. Did that count? Did that trigger the rule? I forced myself to breathe faster, to break the synchronization. The breathing outside didn't change, kept its slow, steady rhythm. Relief flooded through me. It was fine. I'd just matched it by accident. That wasn't the same as it matching me. The breathing moved away, faded into the forest. I didn't sleep again, just lay there until dawn. In the morning, the marks around my tent were deeper. More of them. Whatever was visiting me each night was getting bolder. 3 more nights. I just had to make it 3 more nights. That day, I didn't hike, stayed in my campsite, read a book, tried to relax. The forest seemed normal during the day, peaceful even. But I noticed something. Every hour, like clockwork, the forest would go silent. Complete silence for exactly 1 minute. And each time I held my breath until it passed. By the 5th time, my chest ached, my head pounded. But I followed the rule. That night, the breathing started before the sun had fully set. It circled my campsite while I made dinner, closer than before. I could see the vegetation moving, see branches swaying as something massive moved between the trees. Do not acknowledge the breathing. I kept my eyes on my fire, on my pot, on anything except where the breathing came from. It stayed all evening, even after I crawled into my tent, even after I zipped myself in. The breathing was right outside, so close I could feel the tent fabric move with each exhale. Then it spoke. I know you can hear me. My voice, my exact voice. I clamped my hand over my mouth to stop from screaming. I know you're afraid, it continued in my voice, but you don't have to be. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help. Do not acknowledge the breathing. The rules are wrong, it said. The ranger lied to you. I'm not dangerous. I'm a spirit of the forest, a guardian. I protect campers, but I can only help if you acknowledge me. I didn't respond. Didn't move. Just say yes, it whispered. Just say you can hear me. That's all. 1 word. Then I can keep you safe. The fabric of my tent pressed inward. Something was leaning against it. The pressure increased. The poles creaked. Say yes, it demanded, voice still mine, but harder now. Say it. I bit my lip until I tasted blood, kept silent. The pressure released. The breathing moved back. Tomorrow then, it said. Tomorrow you'll acknowledge me. Everyone does eventually. It moved away into the forest, but I could still hear it. Distant breathing. All night, never far, always present. Morning came. I was exhausted, dizzy. I'd been in the forest 4 nights and hadn't slept since the first evening. I made coffee. Hands shaking so badly I spilled most of it. I needed to leave, needed to hike out. This was insane. But something stopped me. Pride, maybe. Stubbornness. I'd paid for a week. I'd planned this trip for months. And the rules had kept me safe so far. One more night. Just one more. Then I'd leave early. That day, the forest went silent 12 times. Each time I held my breath. Each time it got harder. On the 12th time, I almost didn't make it. Almost exhaled before the sounds returned. My vision went dark at the edges. My lungs burned like fire. But I held it. That night, I didn't make a fire, didn't cook dinner. Just ate a protein bar in my tent and zipped myself in before dark. The breathing started immediately. All around my tent. Not just one source, multiple. Surrounding me completely. Different rhythms, different depths, like a chorus of breathers, all circling, all getting closer. I covered my ears. It didn't help. I could still hear them, still feel the vibration of each exhale. Then they synchronized, all at once, all breathing together, in, out, a massive coordinated breath. The sound was overwhelming. And then, without thinking, I matched it. My breath fell into their rhythm, perfectly synchronized. If the breathing matches yours, start running. Number. Not again. I was matching them. That was different. But was it? How did I know? How did I know which direction the matching went? The breathing stopped. All of it. Completely. Silence. Then, all around my tent, whispers. Dozens of voices. All mine. Run. 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 The tent began to collapse. Something was pressing down on it from all sides. The poles bent. The fabric sagged. I grabbed my knife and slashed through the tent wall. Squeezed through. Ran. Didn't look back. Didn't think. Just ran through the dark forest. Branches whipping my face. Roots catching my feet. Behind me, I could hear it. Them. Whatever they were. Crashing through the undergrowth. Breathing in perfect unison. Getting closer. I ran for what felt like hours. My lungs screaming. My legs burning. The forest went silent. Hold your breath until it passes. I kept running but stopped breathing, held it while sprinting through darkness. 30 seconds, 45. My chest felt like it would explode, but I held it. 1 minute. My vision blurred. I stumbled, fell 1 minute 30. I was going to pass out, going to die here. Sounds rushed back. I gasped in air, lay on the ground, heaving. The breathing was gone. The forest was normal again. Birds, wind, insects. I'd done it. I'd survived. I stood on shaking legs and looked around. I had no idea where I was. No flashlight, no map, just the